Yeah, my name is Derrick Parker. I'm the former NYPD detective that headed up the hip hop squad. I did a lot of investigations involving a lot of rap artists and people in the music industry because of the violence that took place back in the 90s and the early 2000s. You know, when there was a lot of problems with rap artists, whether they were victims, whether they were perpetrators committing crimes, where they were involved in a lot of stuff. So there's a lot of things that I did to go out and investigate, especially for the higher ups in the police department, the chief and the police commissioner. I love hip hop. I love hip hop. I love the hip hop culture. You know, I'm into more on the R&B side of it now as I get older because I like Trey Songz and Chris Brown and Rihanna and there's a few other artists I like. Kendrick Lamar I was just listening to the other day, his music. So I'm a big hip hop fan. I love music. I love the art of music. I think a lot of these people are talented in this industry, but it's a shame that they get caught up in these criminal activities sometimes, or they get caught up with people that are part of their entourage, that are part of criminal activities, that they bring with them into the music industry, and it hurts them. It hurts their ability to progress
Right.
and be a major artist. Because the case of Bobby Shmurda, look what happened to him. He was part of the GS9 crew, and guns and drugs and the shootings and stuff. And once you do all of that stuff, the police department monitors you. The police department's more proactive. And with Bobby Shmurda, they were hell bent on not letting his career take off before they got him. They weren't going to let him become a major rap artist before they took him down. And, he had some good detectives that did some good police work. And they put a case together on him and his crew. And they simultaneously took them out.
You gotta back up, like, because you gotta clear it up. I'm not in this inside. I don't know exactly what's he charged with.
Well, Bobby Shmurda was charged with gun possession, drug possession. And what happened in his case is that with all the investigation took place in Brooklyn to begin with, but then the special prosecutor from the Manhattan DA's office took over the case, Bridget Brennan's office, and once she gets a hold of you, that's it. Now she's got the case, so she has the ability to enact more laws and to do bigger investigations. So once she took over the case, because it had ties to Manhattan, where drugs were found in guns, it became a bigger problem for Bobby Shmurda because they were going to really go after him, and they did. And I think his record company stepped aside. I don't even think they are so much involved with him anymore. I think they stepped back to see what the prosecution was going to do of the law.
Yeah, I think they left him for that.
They left him alone. But this is another case of a kid coming from the neighborhood in Brownsville, making it in this industry, had the potential to make a lot of money, and he just did a lot of bad things with some bad people, and he got caught out there, and the end result was that now look, he's in jail. Or I don't know if he got bail yet, but he was in jail for a while, or may still be in, and they're not done with him yet. They're going to prosecute him.
You think he's done, though?
I think he's done in the industry, yeah. That's my personal opinion. Unless something miraculously happens, I just don't think that he's going to come back like that. But like I said, the detectives that had the case, they did a good job in pinpointing all the guys in his crew and what they did,
I'm thinking, like, from an outsider, dude, they really got a case because they got to prove it that, like, a jury has to buy it, you know what I mean?
Well, that's the whole thing.
He got enough evidence.
Right, he's been charged with it. But between me and you, man, I think they have a lot of evidence against him. And the shame of it is they're going to use it against him. And believe me, when the special prosecutor has this case, she's not a fool. She knows what she's doing. She does a lot of these cases. So I think he's going to have problems. I really and truly do. I think they have a lot of evidence stacked against him that they're going to present with the grand jury, or if they already presented with the grand jury, and then they're going to go after him. Well, he was part of the GS9 crew. He says that
GS9 is a real deal.
It's a big crew out of Brownsville. He was definitely part of them, and some of the guys that he hung with, they were part of the crew. So the police department lumps you in. Once you get involved in an organization like that, you become an organization. Where you do the thing that kills you is the violence. Once you commit the violent acts and you sell drugs and you intimidate people and you do all this other stuff, it's just part and parcel for them to come after you and build a better case. Because they not only got you in several felonies, but they present you as a leader of a gang, of a crew. And you got to remember, they had something like 21 shootings they were involved with that crew.
Really?
21 shootings, man. That's a lot of shootings, that they tied those guys to. And like I said, with Bobby Shmurda, with the guns and the drugs, but the way I see the case, I don't think it looks good for him. That's my opinion. I'm not doing the prosecution. I wasn't one of the detectives on the case, but I know a lot about it. That it doesn't look really good for him right now. You know?
Shmurda, I'm saying.
Well, I think he was in the studio, and I think he was smoking, and
because I know like some people told me that I knew some people that were there at that night, and so it was hectic.
Yeah, I think they were waiting for him to come out because they had information he was up there. And remember, the task force or the detectives that had the case, they knew everything about him. They knew where he was going and where he was going to be. And you don't know what informants they had that were telling them where this guy was going to be at. They have informants probably in his whole crew that were talking to the police, you know? And they were telling everything about him. But that's what, again, it goes to cooperation. You get cooperators that cooperate, and that's how most of the police work gets solved, are cooperators. People that help you with cases, you know? And they followed him to the studio, waited for him, and there's the guns, there's the drugs. Need I say any more?
Right.
And like I said, Bobby Shmurda's a talented kid, you know? He had that song out, he was probably on his way up, and look what happened. You know, the police department did not want to see this guy succeed, especially with the past that he had and the crew that he was associated with. And, you know, sometimes it's guilt by association, you know that.
Right.
You know? Right. It's the people that he's with and the participation and stuff that he's been involved with these set of people. And that's the problem. You know?
Right.
That's the problem.
It wasn't even so much as do a movie. It was just I wanted to do a film project. Film is something that I've never done before. I wrote 2 novels in the past, and it was based